The following information, material, and content is covered under fair use. This is for commenting, teaching, and training purposes only. Again, this is for commenting, teaching, and training purposes only. This does not constitute, nor to be construed as, nor intended to be, tax advice, financial advice, nor legal advice. If you need any applicable advice, please seek a licensed professional. Do your own due diligence, regardless of who presents the information. All rights, titles, and actions or interests reserved ab initio without prejudice. Hey everyone, this is B with To Be Fruitful Training Group. All praises to the Most High. And today we're going to be covering the Cestui Que Vie, more particularly the implications and its connections. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a brief update of what's been going on with the channel. I've been having multiple trusts, several different cases, assisting with others, and different things going on, so I have been quite busy. I still do have room to take on additional trusts and consultations if that is needed for the particular instance. So like I said, my information will be in the description, where you can go in and fill out the contact form through the website. I have the private equity weekly workshop, where we have meetings on Mondays and Fridays via Zoom. If you'd like to join the private equity weekly workshop, any donations over 200 will receive lifetime membership. This will include the Friday Zoom classes, the Monday study session also via Zoom, the private signal group where we send notifications and updates and discussions on topics regarding law and equity as well. This will also include all the replays from all the prior classes, as well as the To Be Fruitful Training Group private library and many other things. So let me know, if you're interested in that. If once you send the donation, please send me an email to the number 2BE Fruitful TG as in training group @gmail.com, and send me your email that you'd like me to send the link to, and I'll go ahead and get you access to that once I receive that. If you'd like to set up a private trust as part of the trust package, or if you'd like to set a consultation with me and book a one-on-one with me, please fill out my contact form on the website. It will be in the description below, and include at least your name, phone number, and email, so that way I'm able to contact you, and we'll work out something from there. So I do have slots available for both of those things, so like I said, just let me know. And continuing with the Cestui Que Vie Acts, most have heard about the straw man or the all capital letter name, but most are unfamiliar how the things relate. So the Cestui Que Vie Act created the legal estate. So the legal estate is considered the minor estate, or the decedent's estate. So this, like I said, this is not legal advice, financial advice, tax advice. You got to do your own due diligence. But this is what they're referred to a lot of times. Now, what is a decedent's estate? Well, a decedent's estate is when, because someone has passed, maybe with a presumption of death or the like, the person or the testator, or the one whom has passed, they are no longer capable of owning property. So as such, an estate is created on their behalf to pass on the remainder of the property once all the duties and debts have been paid out of the estate, which is comprised of all the property, past, present, and future interests that the testator would have been or still possessed. And those are then passed on to the beneficiaries. So, well, what happens in the case of, someone that isn't dead? Well, that's when it gets a little bit different. So, for example, what would happen if someone's personal name was taken and then converted into, let's say, a corporation where they put a whole bunch of liens and debts on it to the point of insolvency, to where it's just a bankrupt corporation? Wouldn't that technically be maybe identity theft? So, just on that premise, let's consider what is defined as identity theft. And to that, we'll look to Minnesota. And Minnesota defines it as used in this section, the following terms have the meanings given them in this subdivision. B. Direct victim means any person or entity described in section 611A.01, paragraph B, whose identity has been transferred, used, or possessed in violation of this section. C. False pretense means any false, fictitious, misleading, or fraudulent information or pretense or pretext depicting or including or deceptively similar in the name, logo, website, address, email address, postal address, telephone number, or any other identifying information of a for-profit or not-for-profit business or organization or of a government agency to which the user has no legitimate claim of right. Financial institution has the meaning given in section 13A.01, subdivision 2. Identity means any name, number, or data transmission that may be used alone or in conjunction with any other information to identify a specific individual or entity, including any of the following: a name, social security number, date of birth, official government issued driver's license or identification number, government passport number, or employer or taxpayer identification number, unique electronic identification number, address, account number, or routing code, or telecommunication identification information or access device. Unlawful activity means any felony violation of the laws of this state or any felony violation of a similar law of another state or the United States, and any non-felony violation of the laws of this state involving theft, theft by swindle, forgery, fraud, or giving false information to a public official, or any non-felony violation of a similar law of another state or the United States. Payment card means a credit card, charge card, debit card, or any other card that is issued to an authorized card user and allows the user to obtain, purchase, or receive credit, money, a good, a service, or anything of value. That sounds really, really similar to 15 U.S.C. 1602L. Just a thought. So, crime: a person who transfers, possesses, or uses an identity that is not the person's own with the intent to commit, aid, or abet any unlawful activity is guilty of an identity theft and may be punished as provided in subdivision 3. So it provides certain penalties here. And there's also restitution, as well as reporting requirements and other things as well. How does the Fed define identity theft? Well, we have 18 U.S.C. 1028. Fraud and related activity in connection with identification documents, authentication features, and information. Whoever, in a circumstance described in subsection C of this section, knowingly and without lawful authority, produces an identification document, authentication feature, or a false identification document, knowingly transfers an identification document, authentication feature, or a false identification document, knowing that such document or feature was stolen or produced without lawful authority, knowingly possesses with intent to use unlawfully or transfer unlawfully 5 or more identification documents other than those issued lawfully for the use of the possessor. So it talks about the different methods here. So this is how identity theft is defined. And then it provides, says they shall be punished as provided in subsection B. So there's many different punishments, and there's remedy there. One facet of information that might be useful is the fact that the Social Security Administration does not consider the middle name as part of the legal name, and they consider only the surname and first name to be the legal name. So that means anytime the middle name is used, they view it as fictitious. So thing there sounds like everybody's been doing business under a trade name, or maybe an assumed name perhaps, without having the proper credentials. Continuing. So what might one do if this is the case? Well, if you know that your identity's been stolen, and you know that your identity appears similar but is actually slightly different, and someone else took your name and used it for certain records and registries and ran up a whole big old tab and created a whole bunch of debt, maybe securities, or took out a whole bunch of lines of credit against your name to the point where you can't even apply for credit anymore, then it sounds like you're dealing with identity theft. So in the cases of identity theft, there are several things to do. One is to check out identitytheft.gov. This is an actual website. It's part of the Federal Trade Commission. So it talks about what you do. You report it. You get a report for the identity theft that happened. And then you take care of what you need to. So you're supposed to call the companies where you know fraud occurred. It says to place a fraud alert. However, I don't recommend placing a fraud alert. If you're going to do something, freeze your credit profile, get the PIN for it, and then just unfreeze it when you need to use it, because otherwise it causes more harm than good, that identity theft alert, because people know that the identities are being stolen, but that identity theft fraud alert does not. It just, like I said, it causes additional verifications, and a lot of times it causes people to quietly deny you, regardless of what they say. So I don't recommend it, but like I said, it's not legal advice. It's not any type of advice. Do what you will. And it says to report the identity theft to the FTC, and then it says you may choose to file a report with your local police department. So this, especially if you're going to go to court, you may have to do this and file a police report. So you need to remove the bogus charges from your accounts, correct your credit report, review your credit reports often. So yeah, you have to clear your name of criminal charges, other things like that. But it gives you a whole list of things that you can do. So, this is something there. what does the AI tell you to do in regards to identity theft? It does actually, the first thing it says is actually file a police report, but you need to do the FTC report first and check and ask your local police department for the particular forms and procedures. It's usually a packet for the filing of that police report, and then follow those steps, all the prerequisites, and then get that done. It says contact the credit bureaus. Like I said, if you're gonna do anything, I would suggest doing a security freeze on all of your 3 of your files. Just maintain the records on that pin. Don't lose that pin that you have, so you can freeze it and unfreeze it at will. You can always get a free credit report, but not when it's frozen. So do with that what you will. It says contact any creditors, file a complaint with the FTC, keep a record of it. And then it also says file form 14039. This is the form that the IRS tells you to use if you are a victim of identity theft. This is the personal form. So, like I said, you read the instructions carefully, go at it step by step. Pay attention to how to submit it. There's multiple methods of submitting this information to the IRS to help them in correcting the situation. But yeah, go through this form and then, see what applies to you. Like I said, it depends on when it started. If it happened shortly after you were born, then it'll be just about the entire time you're living. So, consider what to do on that. And this is the business form that the IRS has for identity theft. Now, is this necessary? Well, it depends. If they stole your identity to the point where you were presumed dead and there is a legal estate, that might be something to consider as well. So if that's the case, you might consider putting the EIN as the estate EIN and putting down that name as applicable. So, from there you'll have to decide, and read through the form with all supporting evidence, the methods of filing this as well. And quite possibly one of the most important aspects of the Cestui Que Vie is romanization of names. So the first, middle, and last name format, according to this AI, originated in Europe, where people traditionally only had a given name and a surname, and so there was last name and first name. So, but what happened? You have the Cestui Que Vie Act. So when it talks about reversion and interest held in reversion, what is that? Well, that, especially with cases and actions, that creates a person. So, because that's a right of action, a chosen action, or chose, same thing. But so that basically is there. But we already talked about Social Security Administration does not consider the middle name as part of the legal name. So the Romans had a 3-part naming structure, with the personal name, praenomen, a family name, nomen, and a clan identifier, cognomen, which could be seen as the precursor to the modern first, middle, and last. And further, out of Charlatan's Web, middle name. Now we're going to scroll down to this portion. Among royalty and aristocracy, middle names have been used since the late 17th century, and possibly earlier, as exemplified in the name of the Stuart pretender James Francis Edward Stuart, 1688 to 1766. Despite their relatively long existence in North America, the term middle name was not recorded until 1835 in the periodical Havardiana. Not every name that stands as the middle word in a three-name string is a middle name. Major classes of this theme are as follows. When part of a two-word given name, for example, Marianne and Joanne. When part of a two-word surname, that is a compound surname, for example, David Lloyd George or Henry Bence Jones, whose surnames are open compounds, that is, Bence is not his middle name, Bence Jones is his compound surname. A maiden name is expressed. For example, Hillary Clinton, née Rodham, is sometimes known as Hillary Rodham Clinton. A patronymic in any of the various Slavic languages, including Russian and Bulgarian, such as Nikita Sergeyevich Khrushchev, is not normally considered a middle name. Russian language and culture has certain norms for when someone is to be called by their given name plus patronymic versus a title plus the surname. For example, Nikita Sergeyevich versus Mr. Khrushchev. The distinction is similar to the T-V distinction. See also Eastern Slavic naming customs. And I apologize if I didn't get that right. I don't speak Russian. So there are many different examples. So most people don't realize, since there's no such thing as a middle name, that everybody has two first names. One compound first name, which is often why people hyphenate it to correct confusion in this concept of a middle name. But as far as a middle name, it sounds like a lot of people need to be putting what they thought was their middle name in a lot of first name fields, showing they have a compound given name. Just a thought. It's up to you to decide what was your mother's intent regarding what you were to be named. So it is your name after all. But that's just something I would consider. And like I stated before, Social Security does not acknowledge the middle name as part of the legal name. So it says that the legal name consists of a first name and last name or surname. So middle name and suffix. We do not consider the middle name or suffix part of the legal name. Whether the middle name or suffix is included, omitted, or incorrectly shown on evidentiary documents submitted with an SS5, application for a Social Security number card, does not matter. Given name and family name. Translate given name and family names shown on documents submitted as SSN evidence to the first and last name on SSN application, respectively as follows. Given names, full first name and middle name, either of which may have more than one part, and family name, full last name, surname, or family name, which may have more than one part. So, since a person's middle name or suffix is not considered part of the legal name by SSA, a middle name shown as part of the given name or a suffix shown as part of the family name can be omitted or entered in the middle name and suffix fields of the enumeration system. If the applicant has a given name with multiple parts and does not allege having a middle name, then the multiple parts should be entered as the first name. If you haven't already, go check out the other Cestui Que Vie videos, part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4 on my channel. They highlight the origins, the start of it, the chain of title, the chain of legislation, and its translation to modern day. So, this is just like it says in the Cestui Que Vie Act of 1666. It's a warning to reversionary names. So, like I said, a middle name is a fictitious name. So anything that has it becomes fictitious. So one of the things that I'll share as far as my experience with this is going through and filing the respective forms, like I mentioned earlier in the video, and talking with these officials. I said, someone's using my name. What should be done about this? I filed a lien on the name. I've done multiple different things. I've got these different certificates to show that someone stole my name. What should I do? And they told me, well, you need to start a business. So maybe that way you copyright your name and protect your name as well. And because he basically told me that there weren't that many protections for a consumer to be able to protect their name. So very interesting to note that. So I started an LLC in my name to protect that name and keep other people from doing business in my name, and filed certain other forms, in the county as well. So, assumed names and DBAs, etc. So, like I said, there's no such thing as a middle name. So if you're presumed to have a middle name, you're presumed to not exist. Just a thought. But let me know what you think. So, like I said, feel free to let me know in the comments. I will say this as well, that when I've spoken to particular people, judges, attorneys, other agents and officials, even the sheriff's deputy had a wild thing to say. He said, I showed him what was going on, just a brief documentation of someone using my name without my consent. And so he told me, well, looks like it's identity theft. And he told me, he was like, well, I mentioned this capital letter name, and he told me that everybody's got one. Some people call them ghosts, some people call them spirits or ghouls, but if you're not dealing with it, I asked him and told him, let me guess, if you're not dealing with it, it's dealing with you. And he said yes. He's like, but the good thing is, you're correcting the matter. So, and he told me that I needed to file a police report for identity theft because of my given situation. So there's plenty of people that know about it, plenty of people that don't. It's an ongoing issue that affects millions and millions of people here in North America, predominantly, as people's names are stolen and used for a variety of purposes, obtaining credit, obtaining resources and other things to which those victims don't benefit. But yeah, like I said, none of this is legal advice, none of this is financial advice, nor tax advice. You'll need to do your own due diligence. There's, you're going to have to read the instructions and, go through those different parts thereof. Like I said, go, watch the other Cestui Que Vie videos and check out some of the other videos on my channel where I've discussed similar topics to get a better understanding of this matter. But with that, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share this with other people that you know. If you'd like to hear more about this particular type of issue and other matters in regards to estate settlement, trust, and equitable jurisprudence, exclusive equity, things like that, like I said, join the Private Equity Weekly Workshop, where we cover things that I can't quite cover fully in the public due to different constraints regarding the public trust, etc. Like I said, I'd like to be able to give it all right now, but some things are private matter. But I hope this provides insight into correction of identity theft, if that's what you're dealing with. And with that, all praises and glory to the Most High. This is B with 2B Fruitful Training Group, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.